What's up? I read Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, the first book in the High Republic era of Star Wars, and let me say this, it is amazing. I loved it. And for those of you that have read this book, I made sure this review will cater to you without giving any spoilers. Now on to the context of the High Republic. The Light of the Jedi takes place around 200 years before the Phantom Menace, and trust me, you can tell. These are not the Jedi, nor is this the Republic you're used to from the prequel era, but more on that later. The goal and the main mission of this book is to establish the Starlight Beacon Base in the Outer Rim territories. Yes, the Outer Rim. I know what you're thinking, not Tatooine again, we've seen it a lot. And yes, I understand why you would be thinking this, but it's not the backwater Outer Rim we're used to. Actually, the Outer Rim feels very important in the world of the High Republic and bears extreme significance to the galaxy. No, not because of Anakin, Luke, or Tatooine, not even Lothal or Ezra Bridger, but because they need help and the Republic is actually thinking of trying to care for them. The galaxy is not connected by hyperspace lanes yet, as we have become accustomed to, actually is far from it. In this era of Star Wars, as you will find out right away, the Republic, yes, is at its quote-unquote high point, but it's starting to find its bearings of technology we know from the Skywalker saga, and it feels like a time period set, well, as mentioned, 200 years before the prequels. And we're reminded this countless times throughout reading the book. The galaxy is huge and it's got to get connected somehow, and now we can tell why the galaxy is so split up into rims. With hyperspace being so limited, it makes the galaxy seem to be a larger, more complex world. This being said, everything seems familiar yet different in such an amazing way I didn't think could be possible within Star Wars. As stated, the galaxy is also at a time of unprecedented peace, with Chancellor So vying for these great improvements to the galaxy, striving to make a change for good. No, she's not a Sith Lord. We've already seen a Chancellor be a Sith Lord. She genuinely wants to make a good change and a betterment to the galaxy. This overarching reign of true peace from the Republic is a nice change. One that feels off at times, as we have never seen it before to this extent in Star Wars, but yet it feels so right. We see a truly demilitarized Republic, which seemed before a confusing choice in Attack of the Clones and the Phantom Menace, as there was always a looming threat of the Separatists and the Sith, but now with the scope of demilitarization, it makes sense. We understand why these choices were made previously to these movies. Remember, this wasn't just Palpatine making these decisions. It is eras before him and the Republic as a whole. Again, may I remind you, this is a prequel to the prequels, and there are times that certain events make you think, wow, no wonder the events in the Skywalker saga happened. Obviously, this is a spoiler-free review, but certain moments show the hubris of the Republic and for reasons its eventual downfalls and reasons why the Separatists formed as a political ideology separate from the actions of Sith Lords. Most people forget the Separatists were a political faction, not just the Sith. The underbelly of unrest in a peaceful Republic exists as the ever-present politics in Star Wars presents itself in new and refreshing ways that I love. But even with all of this said, the galaxy is not what we knew in the Skywalker saga for obvious reasons. We're treated to a whole new cast of characters, which is honestly very refreshing, and of course we have cameos of Yoda as he's going to be in the High Republic, but I'll talk more about him later. It's one of my favorite parts of this book. We're also treated to the mysteries of hyperspace. We've been used to hyperspace being a largely accessible network to access the galaxy, with lanes all over making it easy to travel from Coruscant to all reaches of the galaxy, but this isn't the case in the High Republic. This Republic at this time period is vastly separated between the core, middle, and outer worlds. The Outer Rim, as mentioned, seems relatively safe, but it's still hard to access due to few hyperspace lanes in the known galaxy. Thus, this is the reason the Nihil are so threatening, as seen in the first few pages of this book, and well, the teasers. They know hyperspace inside and out, which used to first seem as a given, as everyone kind of does in Star Wars, but as Han Solo reminds us constantly during the movies, hyperspace is very dangerous, and in a galaxy that isn't as technologically advanced as we're used to, hyperspace can be extremely dangerous with limited routes available, as we'll see multiple times throughout this book. Okay, enough about the galaxy and the amazing world building in the High Republic. Let's talk about the Jedi. With Star Wars, of course, there are Jedi, and Jedi are in full force in this book for sure. This truly feels like a golden era of the Jedi if there has ever been one. The Jedi feel like a beacon of hope and prosperity, as they should be. They care for the people, the citizens of the Republic look up to them, and the Jedi actually listen to the will of the Force. The will of the Force? What's that? Are you asking about Qui-Gon Jinn? Yes, these Jedi feel exactly like the Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn was, not corrupted and truly listening to the Force and doing what the Force wants them to do. I feel like he would fit in perfectly with the Jedi of this time period. This being said, we're introduced to an entirely new group of Jedi, not calling back on any familiar faces. We're introduced to great characters like Avar Kriss, Loden Greatstorm, and Bel Zettifar. Of course, there are new Force abilities introduced, but they feel natural, they feel right. They feel like a time that the light side is truly prevailing over the dark, and it seems like they can access more of the Force. They are using the light side. Then let's just say these Jedi are the Jedi I imagined Obi-Wan made his speech in A New Hope. They have golden robes, people really look up to them, and they care at a time the galaxy is at peace. Look, I had my doubts about the Jedi in the High Republic when this era was released and first announced, but now I truly understand what Lucasfilm is going for here, and let me say this, it works. Any doubts that I had are now gone. What works is the way the Force is actually depicted, and it helps the story a lot, and it helps characterize the Jedi. This also has to do with reading a book. Reading a book is very different than watching a piece of media, whether it be shows, cartoons, or movies, and watching some rocks or some mind tricks happening. Instead, we're treated to the inside of the minds of the Jedi and a new depiction to the Force. The Force shows up unique to each and every Jedi, which I personally enjoy seeing as it gives the Jedi more personality and makes the Force seem more alive. And it's really nice getting the Force to be characterized in the way it is. I really enjoy that. But speaking of the Force, we all want to know about the Sith Lords in the High Republic. Well, I hate to break it to you, there are none. Yeah, I know, no more Grandpapa Palpatine, which is honestly kind of relieving right now, but instead we're met with the Nihil. At first, they seem like a ragtag group of pirates, which they honestly are, and they remind me a lot of Hondo's group from the Clone Wars, except competent and actually dangerous. This being said, you can ask how a group of space pirates can A, threaten the Jedi at a time of peace, and B, be a galactic issue in this High Republic era. Well, let me say this. If Hondo, yes, Hondo, can capture Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Count Dooku all at the same time during the Clone Wars and almost screw up all of Palpatine's plans being an insolent pirate, the leader of the Nihil, Marchion Ro, can do much worse. Let's say this, he's competent, gets stuff done, and is a leader of his people. The Nihil definitely evolve over time, and as the book progresses, they emerge as a real threat, one that can actually threaten the galaxy. Seeing this progression is honestly shocking to me. You would not expect it when you pick up the book. This evolution and the growth of the Nihil works because of the world that is built. This threat could not exist at the time of the Skywalker saga. It wouldn't make sense. This is because of the technology that is present in the Skywalker saga that is not in the High Republic. It's a very interesting thing because the Nihil exists because the world that is set. I do not see them as a replacement for the Sith, nor anywhere close. But I do see them as a very real and interesting threat to the galaxy and the Jedi as a large, which makes sense within this period of the galaxy. They're not going to wipe out the Jedi by any means, and I don't think they have any chance to. But they present an interesting and unique threat. A threat that I believe will transition the Jedi into a point where they are during the prequel era. The writers made sure to make the Nihil feel part of this era of Star Wars as they thrive off the unknowns present in the galaxy at this time period. I can't wait to see more of them, and I wonder if their actions in this book create more groups like the Nihil, leading to the disjointed galaxy we are used to. So I brought him up, Yoda. We all love Yoda, and we know he's going to play a big part in the High Republic era. So let me touch on Yoda for a bit and the way he's used. Throughout the Skywalker saga, he is such a main focal point. We're used to seeing the story of the Skywalkers, and he's so intertwined with them, especially in the prequels and the Clone Wars. But we fail to remember there are thousands of Jedi in the Order of the time of the prequels, and we are seeing the Jedi through a lens of the chosen one being Anakin. The light of the Jedi in the High Republic is not like that. This book feels as if it is a small part of a vastly larger world, highlighted by the use of Yoda as a character. Yoda is used as a mythical-like being here. He is a Grandmaster, but yet not forced into the story by any means. He's more like an Easter egg, but yet an important one to the story. You could replace Yoda's name with any other character, and the weight Yoda carries would still work. I do feel like he will have a very large role in the High Republic era later on. Of course, he's Grandmaster, but his character, at least to me, was perfect in this book. Like I said, he was used as a small Easter egg, showing how large the Jedi Order really is in this book. Not everybody knows Yoda. Not all the Jedi know each other, and some Jedi like Yoda are more well respected than others. Not every story has to have the same characters jumping in every so often, and it's highlighted by this book. This is still Star Wars though, so it's the same galaxy far, far away. Yes, 200 years or so before the Phantom Menace. So of course we see familiar planets referenced and alien species brought up, and they fit, but they don't feel like fan service. A good example is when they bring up Mandalorians for a split second. This didn't feel like fan service. It felt like it was expanding on the world, and it was showing how the world was at peace while not being fan servicey. It's nice to see the cultures we know referenced and appreciated while feeling natural within a story. Of course, it's in a different time period, and the respect for Star Wars for sure was there, and it's felt all throughout this novel. Now to the future of the High Republic era. This era is very bright and has a great future ahead of it, and I am excited. I don't foresee the Nihil being the only villains in this era. The Jedi are interesting, and I believe the Acolyte is set to take place during this time period. Remember, although the Sith are not even mentioned here, they are always lurking, because, well, you know, Order 66 and the fall of the Jedi Order. This has to happen eventually, so the Sith are lurking. We don't know who they are. But for now, let's all enjoy a new era of Star Wars and go into it with an open mind, because I, for one, am really looking forward to this, and you should be too. Anyways, this is Jordan, and thank you so much for listening to my thoughts on the High Republic and my review of Light of the Jedi. I hope so much more comes from this era of Star Wars, and I am super excited for the future.